Gonna sing a few songs for this week's episode. Got up today and it was pretty stormy out, so I got it into my head to sing some storm songs. And I'm gonna sing a few out of this collection called Come and I Will Sing You. Great songbook collection. Songs that were collected by Anita Best. And I don't know if Genevieve Lear did collecting, but she edited the collection. And then it's transcribed by Pamela Morgan, and illustrations, great illustrations in here by Ellie Cohen. And I have been learning songs out of this book now for like 25 plus years. And at one point I transcribed them all using like computer language basic. And I like input all of them just so I could hear them. So I'm going to try one now that I never actually learned. But the melody, because I did take that time and I could hear the computer going, boop, beep, 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 beep. You know, like I figured out, I got a sense of all the melodies. So I'm going to try this one called The Blue Wave. Come all ye men that work on land, for little do you know what we poor fishermen endure when the stormy winds do blow. 'Twas February in '59, a date I remember well, when some brave lads were called away out in that heavy gale. We sailed away from Burgeo, it was on a Sunday morn, the temperature reading 0 as we ran before a storm. Bill Vardy was our skipper's name, the Triton was our boat. Our crew was all from Newfoundland, there's no better bunch afloat. We fished around those grand banks 5 or 6 days or more, when a heavy storm it did arise as we headed for the shore. It wasn't very long afterwards the news we all did know. A sea struck the Cape Dolphin and she was sinking slow. For 10 on Monday morning we received a distress shout, coming from the blue wave, saying that she was hove out. We tried to run back to her, but nothing would she stand. We brought her to the wind again, and we shaped her for the land. Our captain then gave orders the ice for to beat off. We beat a load down on her deck, and we beat it from aloft. We kept beating away the ice, our hearts were filled with fear. Our captain then gave orders again, our lifeboats to keep clear. Then aeroplanes were soon dispatched to search the ocean round, but no sign of their missing boat was anywhere to be found. A gale of wind was blowing then, while the seas rose mountains high. The search it was abandoned, and the planes did homeward fly. To you people of Grand Bank and Fortune I send my deepest sympathy. Put your trust in God above while toiling on the sea. Don't fret nor mourn for those brave lads that have been called away. I know you'll meet in heaven above upon that judgment day. So now to conclude and finish, I think I have done well. My name and my birthplace I'm going for to tell. Grey River is my native home, Jack Lushman is my name, and I sail with Captain Vardy from Burgeo, Newfoundland. So that's from February 1959, the Blue Wave. That event was in 1959. And Mr. John Lushman Sr., he was the composer of that song. And in the notes here it says, he spent 28 years on the sea, but he is glad to be a landsman once again. Okay, this is another one, another storm song. This was sung by Ray Hepditch and others in Southeast Bight 1976, and it's called the August Gale. On the 25th of August, the gale began to rise, which left so many orphans and took so many lives. Left there to stay for their last day, their friends to see no more. For the ocean wave, it rolled that day like it never rolled before. John Follett in his little boat, about 10 tons or more, was anchored on the fishing ground, 'bout 12 miles from the shore. And when the gale began to rise, they run to the nearest port, but a heavy sea rolled over them and capsized their little boat. John Follett and one of his sons clung to the wreck that day. For 8 long hours they drifted, exposed to wind and sea. God spared the lives of those poor boys, all for to tell the tale, but his eldest son got drowned in that great August gale. Danny Cheeseman from Roshoon also went down that day. The boat was passed with her 2 spars gone, 'bout halfways in the bay. To think on what they suffered, a stone would heave a sigh. There were 3 men clinging to the wreck when Harris passed her by. He tried his best to save them, but the boat she did misstay. And with aching hearts they were forced to part and run before wind and sea. He done his whole endeavor, 'twas all that he could do. May the Lord have mercy on the souls of Dan Cheeseman and his crew. Another schooner branded new, built up in Mortier Bay, commanded by John Lachlan, from Red Harbour sailed away. As she was anchored on Cape ground to the westward of the light, She had a dory gone astray that dark and stormy night. Turn the page. The Annie from Fox Harbor also went down that day, with 7 hearty fishermen, no more to plough the sea, and all of them being married men, which made the loss run high, excepting one, the skipper's son. He was a single boy. There's 6 young widows left to mourn, I know them all quite well, with children small, no help at all to bear their troubles well. If God himself will lend a hand and look down on them, I hope, leaving widows and orphans for to mourn, it was a dreadful stroke. So that's the August Gale. That's August 1935. Placentia Bay hit by a severe storm, known as the August Gale. And there was 40 fishermen lost in that gale. So that's a couple of storm songs on a stormy day. A lot of these videos have been like fast tunes, but I still like to make some space for the singing of those songs, just for anybody who enjoys them. And it's nice to just sit together, have a cup of tea, and listen to a little story. So I hope you've enjoyed. And I will see you in the next episode. I had I put a little poll out like a couple weeks ago and just said, what are you interested in? I gave a few options, and the one vote that was there was how to play. So sometime in the near future, I'll put out a video of how to play, an instrument, or or maybe just learning a song or something like that. And in the meantime, thanks to my Patreon joiners. Patreon, I don't know if all are familiar with Patreon. It's a way for people who are creating something to get supported in what they do. So in this case, I'm creating this series, and I'm saying if you want to support this series, you can pay a $2 monthly thing at Patreon, and that will just help me do this. So thanks to everyone who watched, and also thanks to my Patreon joiners. And I will see you in the next episode. Have a great week.